Hi YouTube, it's me Tifar Wilderness and welcome to my penultimate video of 2020 and yes, it's the best bots that I got this year because you saw the other day I did my worst bots. The format I'm going to be using for this video is the same as the last one, so basically I've got 12 best bots that I picked up throughout the course of the year from my monthly bot hauls when I do that first and worst thing, so these are all the first bots, and I've also sorted out 5 honourable mentions to tag on to the end. I'd like to get through this video pretty quick. I mean, I did the worst bots video in about just over 40 minutes, so I'd like to do the same here, so let's get on with it, shall we? So yeah, I'll be doing these in chronological order, starting with January, moving my way through to December, and then do the honourable mentions at the end. Right, let's get started, shall we? So, January. The best bot I got in January NewAge H14 Leviathan. So it's their version of Thundercracker in Legend Scale. This thing's awesome, absolutely amazing. I mean, Thundercracker is my seeker of choice. I mean, this mold is basically, it's like a masterpiece in miniature. I mean, I've got the Maketoys Lightning, and this is basically a scaled down version of that. It's very, very similar in both colour and aesthetic, and the way the transformation works for the most part. Very, very clever. I'd like to get the Magic Square Thundercracker, but it comes in a triple pack with the other Seekers, so I've been reluctant to pull the trigger on it up to now, but yeah, had to get me a Thundercracker at some point. Wow, I've got quite a few Thundercrackers this year, and this is one of the better ones that I got. So he's the first best bot I got for January. NewAge H14 Leviathan. Now, one thing I'll say before I get on to the next one. These bots, you've got to take them in context of the other bots that I got in any given month. Some of these best bots that I'm going to show you, my opinion on some of them has mellowed and cooled slightly since I got them, for one reason or another, and the next figure is definitely one of those. So in February, I managed to get hold of this guy. This is the Maketoys Cross Dimension Buster Stealthwing. So it's like the Nemesis version of that Buster Skywing that they did. It's basically Jetfire, but done in a an alternate universe version. Really cool figure. Now, this thing when it first came out was it wasn't that expensive. It was about 75-80 quid, and I tried to get one off the Kapow stand at TF Nation in 2019, but they'd sold out because I was a bit late getting to the store, and they'd sold all what few that they had on the Saturday morning. So I was a bit shit out then. So then I was looking around for one, and then they had problems with the first shipment of these with some wrong parts, some like 2 left-handed parts on the wing pieces or something. It had some issues, but then Maketoys says they were going to reissue the figure, and I looked around and I found that is either Omega Lock or TFS Express, one of the two, was doing this guy on a pre-order for the second run for around about 75 quid. So I placed an order with them, but then shortly afterwards I got contacted by Omega Lock or TFS Express, and then they basically cancelled my order, refunded my money, and they said, "Oh, the reason we're cancelling your order is because Maketoys have had an incident whereby some of their staff members have gone into their warehouse and stolen a bunch of the products from the warehouse, and Maketoys can no longer honour their stock order with the company, so they cancelled their order, and they then tried to offload all their Maketoys products because they didn't want to deal with them anymore." So yeah, I missed out again. And then looked around, and eventually Kapow got it in stock, and I bought it from Kapow. A little bit more expensive than what I wanted to pay for it, so I ended up paying like nearly 95 quid for this thing. It's a great figure. It looks really cool. It does combine with Strike Noir. He's in there, apparently. I've not tried to do that. Now, this figure, when I got it at the time, I was really impressed with it, but then after getting it back in February, I did my end of month bot haul video. I then transformed it into jet mode. It then went up onto my detail for a couple of months on display, and then when I rearranged the bots on the top of my detail, it went back up in the loft, and it sat there for months and months and months. And I've only just got it down to do this video. I had to transform it back into robot mode, and the transformation wasn't that great. I mean, I've noticed some of these shoulder pieces don't quite peg in properly, and like I said, my opinion on it has cooled slightly, but I'm doing this video in context of the best bots that I got at any given time throughout the year. So this guy still stands up as the best bot I got in February. So there we go. February, Maketoys Cross Dimension Buster Stealthwing. Now, March. Human Alliance Roadbuster. Yeah, again, in the context of the bots that I got at the time, I decided I wanted to get more of the, sort of Dark of the Moon Wreckers figures. I've got a few of them already, but I wanted to try and fill in the gaps. And this was one of the guys I was after. Now, Human Alliance figures, on the whole, I don't think they're that great. And as I said in my worst bots video where I showed you the Human Alliance Soundwave, because of the way they're engineered to have the little Human Alliance figure that fits inside the cockpit of the vehicle, they have to have an open cockpit inside that the figure can sit in, and because of that, the way these things are engineered is a bit unusual, and they tend to be a bit fiddly to transform. This guy is kind of fiddly to transform, but he looks amazing. I think he's one of the better Human Alliance figures that they did. So yeah, I got hold of him. I was quite impressed with him. Again, I had to transform this guy because I put him in his boxing car mode. I had to transform him back to robot mode for this video, and had a bit of a mission with it, but managed to get it eventually. Still, it's still a really cool figure. I like my Dark of the Moon Wreckers, and this was one of the ones I wanted to get, so managed to get him back in March. Human Alliance Roadbuster. Now in April, everybody, remember when Siege came out, and you had the Siege of Voyager class Optimus Prime, and everybody was gushing over how good it was. And of course then the Earthrise one came out, and everyone was saying, oh, the Siege one's not so good, and the Earthrise one is the one to have. But I didn't get a Siege Optimus Prime, but I thought, well, as is usually the case, I don't tend to buy the vanilla Optimus Prime figures. I like to buy them as and when they do a repaint of them into either Nemesis Prime or like a White Ultra Magnus. So in April, then got to Takara, did their exclusive repaint. I think it was they did a couple of these throughout the year, exclusive Nemesis Prime repaints or Black Convoy repaints of Siege Optimus Prime, so I managed to get hold of one. Yeah, I see what people was going on about when they were talking about this mould. Amazing mould, really cool, but I was glad to get it in the Nemesis colours. So yeah, finally got hold of the Siege Optimus Prime mould, and yeah, awesome figure, really, really cool. Great transformation, very good looking robot. Again, Cybertronian-esque alt mode, but it still looks like a truck. Yeah, really cool. Got hold of him. I got this from InDemand. I think I got it from InDemand. I had to pre-order it. It was kind of expensive. It was about 60 odd quid because it was a Japanese like more exclusive or something daft like that. But yeah, managed to get hold of one of these. Really, really cool figure. I can see what all the fuss was about when people were gushing about the Siege Optimus mould. So yep, got hold of him. So that was April. Takara, War for Cybertron, Siege, Voyager, Nemesis Prime. Then in May, Studio Series Sentinel Prime. Now, I've got the original Dark of the Moon Voyager Sentinel Prime. I picked him up at an NEC Toy Fair a couple of years ago. That ain't a great figure. It ain't great. It's got a lot of grey plastic on it. The transformation's a bit weird. The one I got was missing some of its accessories, but it still transformed into the vehicle mode okay. And I managed to get hold of the Dark of the Moon sort of Cyberverse one that they did, and that thing's amazing. That thing's awesome. But didn't actually go for the leader class one. But I thought, well, I still quite like the design of Sentinel Prime, and I wanted to get another one. And then they said they was doing one in the Studio series, and I looked at it and I thought, yeah, that looks good, and I got it. And boy, is this thing amazing! Really, really cool. Great transformation. The moulding, the aesthetic on it, absolutely beautiful. Absolutely captures the look of the thing. Bit too much, sort of black plastic going on. Wow, it's this dark charcoaly grey plastic going on. It could have done with a few more sort of silver accents, I think, on the Orc mode and the Robot mode to set it off. But apart from that, it's a really, really cool figure. Great transformation, comes with his accessories, and absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Brilliant. And it was definitely the highlight of the bots that I got in May. So that's Studio Series 61 Voyager Sentinel Prime. Now this next one. This next one really took me by surprise. Over the course of the year, because obviously it being the year of the COVID, it created situations whereby it slowed down international shipping. And there was one particular month whereby I ordered a bunch of stuff and they didn't come in, and when I did my end of month bot haul, I only had like 6 items to show you at the end of the month. So on certain times when this has happened, I've fallen back onto buying, ordering bunches of bots from an eBay seller in the Netherlands by the name of Garut Camaro. Now he has an eBay shop, and he has hundreds and hundreds of Transformers items from all different lines. His prices are okay. Some of them are a bit expensive, but some of them are cheap. It's a mixed bag of prices. But he has this singular shipping price that he charges. Sometimes he does free shipping if it's a smaller item, but on the other stuff, he charges like, was it 14, 15 quid for shipping, which if you're buying a cheap figure that's probably about less than 10 quid, and he charges you 15 quid shipping on it, then that's unreasonable, isn't it? But if you then order add multiple items to your basket, you only pay one shipping price. So it pays to buy multiple items from him so you can save on the shipping. And I've done this a couple of times this year. He's been like a fallback when other things I've bought, from overseas sellers haven't quite come in on time. So back in June, I did one of these bulk orders from Mr. Garut Camaro. And one of the figures I ordered was this. Fast Action Battlers Longhaul. Now this is from back in the original movie, and Revenge of the Fallen. I think this is the Revenge of the Fallen one. So back in the original Transformers movie and Revenge of the Fallen, they did this series called Fast Action Battlers, where they did these simplified figures that had a built-in gimmick. But actually, they're really quite good. And I've previously got the Blackout, Fast Action Battler Blackout before, and I was really impressed with him. And then I saw this guy, and I thought he looked pretty cool, and I bought him. And then I got him, and I started playing with him, and I thought, this thing's amazing. So bearing in mind, it's a gimmick toy. So the gimmick is this sort of... Hang on, get it to work. It sometimes jams up. Come on. It's got like a punching gimmick, right, on one of his arms. But when I started playing with this, I thought, it's a pretty cool figure. But then I noticed it's got a waist joint. I noticed it's got bicep swivels. It's got an elbow. I was blown away by it. I mean, the articulation this thing's got is amazing. I mean, obviously the legs are a little restricted, but he's got a working knee. The legs don't splay out very much, but I need to transform this thing. It's got a simple transformation, and it's made out of a really tough, solid plastic. And I absolutely love this thing. I was blown away by it. And then when I found out it had a working elbow, I was like, oh, that was my mind blown. Because I thought both the arms were like, you know, sort of static, solid, straight arms. But then one of them turns out to have, and it's got a bicep swivel. You know, it's absolutely incredible, this thing. I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's the second figure I've got from the Fast Action Battler line, and it's the second one that's just blown me away. And it's there's some, you know, there's some diamonds in the rough in this Fast Action Battlers line. You know, I need to go back and look at some of the other figures they did for that line and see if there's any other figures that might be worth picking up. But yeah, totally impressed with this guy. He really blew me away, and it is honestly, this is one of the best pots I got this year because of that. Absolutely love this thing. So that is June. Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen Fast Action Battlers. Longhaul. Right, now July. Yeah, this next figure is something that I would have picked up at TF Nation had TF Nation gone ahead this year, but as we know, because of COVID, it got cancelled, just like so many other events. I mean, I only went to one NEC Toy Fair this year. I should have gone to 4. I mean, a couple of days ago, I should have gone to the December NEC Toy Fair, but didn't because it'd been cancelled. But anyway, one of the staples of the Transformer line is the Titan class figure that they bring out every year. And the last couple of years, I've got me an Omega Supreme and a Fort Max and a Tripticon. I haven't got Metroplex, but I'd like to get hold of one if I can get one at a decent price, but good luck with that. Yeah, so this year it was Scorponok. They decided to do a Titan class Scorponok, and yeah, it's a heavy retool of the Omega Supreme mould, but you know, I would have got one of these at TF Nation, but I looked around and it came out just, you know, in July, just before TF Nation, and I managed to get hold of one. And yeah, Earthrise Titan class Scorponok. Wow, this thing is amazing. Awesome. I mean, I haven't really got a G1-esque Scorponok. I've got a couple of other Scorponoks, but I haven't got a G1 style Scorponok, and this seemed like as good a time as any to get hold of one. I love this thing. This thing's amazing. It's really cool. It looked amazing. It's pretty solid. It transforms into Scorpion and the base mode pretty well. Few niggly little things wrong with it. You know, I have a few gripes. One is these shoulder cannons. They're just a single moulded piece, and the barrels don't hinge upwards, which is something that one of the third-party companies is fixing with their upgrade kits. There's a few other things on it, but on the whole, absolutely amazing. I love this thing. It's huge. It's imposing. I mean, it's okay, he's not quite as big as Fort Max, but he's pretty close. He's not far off. You know, this guy could easily go toe-to-toe with Fort Max. And he's definitely a lot more solid than Fort Max. And I think he'd come out the winner, to be honest. So yeah, he's lots of nice ratchets. And absolutely incredible bot, and definitely the best thing that I got back in July. So that's Transformers Earthrise Titan class Scorponok. Okay. Yeah, we're whipping through these. Right, so next, August. Again, no TF Nation in August because of COVID. So I was looking around, and the one thing this year has been that's happened this year, big style, and it's largely Takara and Hasbro's response to the COVID crisis, is they do these. They've basically, a lot of their releases, they've been revealing these releases online, then saying them, oh yeah, these are, retailer exclusives. A lot of these sort of exclusive retailer releases that they've been doing this year, and it's pain in the arse for people who live in the UK like us, because a lot of these exclusives are US exclusives. They're like US retailers, like the Hasbro Pulse website, which you can't access unless you live in the United States. Amazon US, again, another website. You've got to be a member, live in the United States to buy stuff from Amazon US. And then you've got Target exclusives and Walmart exclusives and all that stuff. And us poor suckers, and basically the guys in America, they get fed this stuff on a silver platter, and the rest of us have to fight over the scraps. The online retailers in the UK like Kapow and TF and In Demand, they got a handful of these things which went on pre-order, which got snapped up instantly by rabid fans in the UK. And then when you go on there, you can't buy it, you can't get hold of it. And the next thing you see these things splattered on eBay for outrageous scalper prices. So yeah, it's been a really bad year, for a Transformer collector in the UK trying to get hold of official stuff because of this reason. And one of the things that they did, we got Earthrise Starscream, and everyone's saying, oh how really cool he is. So then they decided to do Skywarp and Thundercracker. Of course, what do? They slap them together in a twin pack, the Cybertronian villains twin pack, and yeah, it's really hard to get hold of one at the decent price. But I hunted around, and I eventually managed to get hold of one because I wanted to get me an Earthrise Thundercracker. So in August, I managed to get hold of the Cybertronian villains 2-pack, Seeker 2-pack, and I got hold of me a Thundercracker. This is basically an upscaled version of the Classics mould. It is just the Classics mould, upscaled, few additional sort of engineering tweaks, but it's basically the same. I mean, you look at it right next to the Classics mould, and the way it transforms is virtually identical. They've added a few extra bits to it, but it's the same figure, essentially. It's still great, though. I mean, obviously, they've added a load of extra moulded detail to it, a few extra joints to give it some additional articulation. But, yeah, absolutely fantastic. And now that I've got Thundercracker and Skywarp, I want to get hold of the Starscream mould, but you try getting hold of Starscream now. Earthrise Starscream, he's like way sold out, and those people who've got him, again, it's all scalper money. They're asking way too much for him. I mean, a figure that should cost like sort of 23, 25 quid, and people are asking like 30, 35, 40, 50 quid for it. It's like, no, I ain't paying that. But I'm keeping my eye to the ground, my ear to the ground, and I'm checking to see if one pops up at a decent price. But again, I'm not holding my hopes up. But managed to get hold of Thundercracker, and he's really, really good. Yes, it's like I said, it's an upscaled, rework of the Classics mold, but the Classics mold wasn't that bad to begin with. Let's face it, it wasn't that bad. They've just reworked it for the new generation, and there we go. And he's actually rather good. So got him in August. Now September. Unique Toys Destroyer. Around about this time, September, the news filtered through that Unique Toys was shutting up shop. And they were going to do one more figure. It was that, Age of Extinction Galvatron figure that they were doing. They could do a pre-order on it. Once the pre-orders are gone, that's it. They're shutting up shop. And their affiliated company DX9 has more recently said that they're quitting the game as well. So we've lost 2 third-party companies in the last couple of months. And part of the reason is due to Hasbro and Takara are now taking a more proactive stance at taking out these companies, most notably in China, these KO companies that are copying their products. And we know they've taken down Wei Jiang, and but the lawyers that they're paying to do this, the Chinese lawyers are, you know what lawyers are? They're like rabid sharks. You know, if they smell blood in the water, they will go for it. And they're basically whispering in the ear of Hasbro and Takara and saying, "Well, look, yeah, we've taken out the KO companies, but what about these third-party companies? I mean, okay, yeah, they're not knocking your stuff off directly, but they are copying your intellectual property, and that's as good a reason as any to go after them as well, you know." And that's what's going on. And I think 2021 we might see a bunch of third-party companies go by the wayside or get shut down because of this reason. And there's been rumours that they're looking at targeting fans' toys as well. So anyway, so I heard rumours that Unique Toys was going the way of the dodo, and I thought, well, actually, I wanted to get hold of this. Obviously, they did the Challenger, which was the Optimus Prime coloured version, and it's an amazing figure. I mean, I can remember watching Smizno Day's video on it, where he got hold of one and he compared it with the El Cid. Or what was it? No, not El. Yeah, Alien Attack El Cid. He compared it with that mould, and the Challenger mould just came out on top on everything. The moulding, the sculpt, the paint, the engineering on this thing is off the chain. And I wanted to get the Nemesis version. Now, they did this in 2 different flavours. They did it in a purple colour, and they did it in a metallic teal as well. Obviously, I wanted to get hold of the teal one, but when I heard that Unique Toys was, coming to an end, I mean, this had been on my radar for a while, wanting to get one, but I just never got around to buying it. And then all of a sudden, I'm in a big hurry to get hold of one, and the sellers in the Far East were sold out. And I eventually found some guy in Scotland who was doing one, and he was asking like nearly 150 quid for this thing, which is a lot of money. I mean, when these things came out, they were like sort of 95 quid or so when they came out, but I paid it, I bought it, and I got him, and he's lovely, he's amazing. He's one of the most expensive bots I've got this year, and he's worth every penny, I would say, given that Unique Toys is going away. I haven't actually transformed this thing. I've had this thing since September. I got it out of the box, showed it in my end of month bot haul. I think I did an unboxing video on it as well. But, I haven't brought myself to transform it. I mean, this thing is supposed to have that transformational magic about it with the way it transforms. The engineering is like absolutely magical the way that it works. But I can't bring myself to do it. So is it going to be one of those figures that just stays in robot mode and I don't bother to transform it? I usually like to make a thing of actually transforming every figure that I buy, usually when I take it out of the box. But I haven't done it with this guy for some reason. But he's still an amazing, amazing bot. Just look at this thing. Just look at it. It looks incredible. But yeah, I managed to get hold of him, and he was the best figure that I got in September. Unique Toys Destroyer. Then October, another one of these. If you could call it, sort of Hasbro exclusive things. We've got the Generation Selects line where they do repaints of moulds or reworks of moulds and then re-release them. There's a few interesting figures come out as part of the Generation Selects line, but this one particularly caught my eye. Super Megatron. Yeah, and this is a weird one. Apparently, a couple of years ago, there was this manga, this Transformers manga that came out, where they basically in it Galvatron got reformatted back into Megatron and became Super Megatron, and then you had like Star Convoy as well, and it was a typical, sort of, Japanese manga Transformers comic strip, and it was only in Japanese. It never got translated into English. Now, more recently, that manga has now been translated back into, been translated into English, and Hasbro have decided to do some figures of some of the characters from this manga, most notably Star Convoy, where they've took the Power of the Prime's evolution Optimus Prime and remoulded it to look like Star Convoy. And then they did this. Now, this is a rework of the Titan's Return Galvatron mould, and it's kind of appropriate because in this manga it was Galvatron who got reformatted into Super Megatron. So whereas Transformers the movie, Megatron got reformatted into Galvatron, and now in this manga he's getting reformatted back into Megatron, and he becomes Super Megatron. So you can see he's obviously got the Galvatron legs on it, but the rest of this thing, wow. the design is so crazy and outrageous. The way this guy works. I mean, he's got these two absolutely absurd alt modes. He's a triple changer. He's got like a tank and like a spacecraft mode, and they're both totally stark raving bonkers. They're so wild and outrageous, the design on them, and the robot mode again, but it's got enough of the G1 Megatron about it to make it work. I mean, I love obviously it's got the grey, it's got the darker sort of charcoaly grey, and then you've got like the red bits just popping out, and then you've got all the moulding detail. He's got like a stylised head sculpt. He's actually got a sticker on it that's got like SM, Super Megatron on his forehead, and he actually has a battle mask as well. You can flip his head. Hang on. Come on. That's it. Yeah, you can flip his head sculpt round, and he's got like a battle mask, which kind of looks like his battle mask from the Last Night, Transformers The Last Night Megatron's battle mask. It looks very similar to that. I love this thing. It's so amazing, so outrageous and wild in the design of it. It's awesome. I mean, yeah, okay, it's got these completely nonsensical alt modes, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter when the robot mode looks this good. So I wanted to get him. He's a Generation Selects exclusive, but he is readily available. You can get hold of him through Kapow, and I know Kapow's still got this guy in stock. But he's awesome. He's an amazing and rework of, a figure that, my only gripe is he's kind of small, because the Star Convoy figure is basically a leader class figure, so he's way bigger than this guy. If they'd have upscaled this guy to a leader class, it probably would have liked it a lot more than. But having him as a Voyager, he's a little bit small. But Megatron's been there before with like Dark of the Moon, Dark of the Moon Voyager Megatron, and then finally get a leader class version in the Studio Series a few years later, and it's like absolute garbage. Okay, so yeah, love this thing. Looks amazing. Great rework of the Titan's Return Galvatron mould. I kind of want to get this manga now. I'm probably going to see if I can pick it up at some point, just to see what all the fuss is about. But yeah, so I managed to get hold of him. Generation Select Super Megatron in October. Right, so only a couple more to go now. November. Earthrise Runamuck. Yeah. Now, they said that they was going to be they did a fan poll, didn't they? They do this fan poll every year. What characters do you want to see come out in next year's toy line? And the Battle Chargers were in it. Runabout and Runamuck, and I think one of them won. I think Runamuck won, or was it Runabout? Well, I can't remember. One of them won anyway, and so we got this guy as part of the Earthrise Deluxe wave. He was one of the Wave 3 figures. Now, this War for Cybertron trilogy, we did Siege. Siege was all right. Then we got Earthrise. Earthrise is like Power of the Primes last year. 3 waves and it's done. They've rushed through it because they want to get onto Kingdom. And Kingdom Wave, they're going to throw everything at it. I mean, not only you've got G1 in there, you've got Beast Wars in there as well. And then you've got all this other stuff. You've got those fossilizers and core class, and they're just going crazy with Kingdom. And to be honest, I'm looking at the Kingdom line and thinking I'm going to go crazy with it as well. I'm going to go batshit crazy with the Kingdom line when it starts next year. But this guy, now, the Battle Chargers, the original toy, were these little cars. They're like a pullback motor that you go forward and they spring up. They were ridiculously simple. They had next to no articulation on them. They were like a one-step gimmick changer in the original G1 toy line. And the characters appeared in the Marvel G1 comic in a very memorable comic strip called Decepticon Graffiti, which is where the two of them came to Earth and then they went around spraying graffiti, Cybertronian graffiti on the American landmarks, and eventually they came to New York, and then the pair of them, they sprayed humans or wimps on the Statue of Liberty, and then what's her face, Circuit Breaker came along with all the aerial bots in some sort of like weird combiner and beat the shit out of them. They only lasted 1 issue in the comic. They were also in the G1 cartoon series, but they were only in a few episodes, I think season 3. In fact, you can go on YouTube and look at all the video clips of the Battle Chargers in the G1 cartoon series, and it's a video that's like 3.5 minutes long, because that's how many times they appeared on the screen in the G1 cartoon. But this figure, when you look at the design of the robot mode, it is such a homage to both the G1 toy, the G1 comic book, and the cartoon series figures. I love what they've done with this mould. The robot mode, he's got like the big flappy legs. He's got these like heel wheels, because the original figure, it went like that when it transformed. The back wheels sort of like hinged down, and when you was in robot mode, he had the rear wheels were behind the front wheels. So they've taken that into an account. He's got that really typical head sculpt with a really chunky sort of mouth plate going across. He's got them little pylons sticking out the back of his shoulders. He's got like the faux sort of hood, roof chest, and he's in this amazing, blinding sort of like ice white colour scheme, and I love that about it. I mean, I was so impressed with the look of this guy, and kind of really got to me, first impressions last with this guy. I really, really impressed with this guy. I then the following month got the black one. I got Runabout, and he's great as well, but isn't quite as good as this guy. I just love the fact that this guy's in this all white colour scheme, and he just looks amazing, and really, really impressed with this guy. Awesome figure. My only gripe is that when you transform it into an alt mode, it's just a spurious, sort of like mid-80s, early 90s sort of like squarish sports car. It's not. This guy should have been a Pontiac, sort of Trans Am Firebird. That was his alt mode in the G1 toy line, and Runamuck's was a turbo Lotus Esprit Turbo, but they never actually went with the realistic alt modes. But that's neither here nor there these days. So yeah, love this thing. He's absolutely fantastic figure, and I got him in November. Earthrise, War for Cybertron, Deluxe, Runamuck. And finally, right, you haven't seen this one yet. I haven't done the end of month bot haul video, which I'll be doing in a couple of days' time. I'll be doing it on the 31st. Right, so my top bot for this month, Netflix Earthrise Soundwave, Netflix exclusive. Now, yes, I've got the Siege one, and he's okay, but he transforms into this bollocks Cybertronian spaceship. That's no good. He's got to transform into a boombox, and that's what this one does. And for some reason, they decided to do it as a Netflix exclusive. And you try getting hold of one of these right now. I mean, I will say this on my end of month bot haul, but I staked out the Smiths website for a full day. Literally, I went on there at like 7:30 in the morning, and I had an alarm on my phone that went off every half an hour, and I kept checking the stock status at my local branch. And I could see, I was checking the stock status of all the branches across the United Kingdom. And this thing started cropping up a couple of weeks ago at Smiths, and they were doing it for $39.99, which is probably the best price anywhere, because you see the prices this thing goes for online. It's ridiculous. I mean, I've seen a lot of people doing it in 2-packs with the Netflix Optimus and asking nearly 100 quid for them, like 50 quid a piece. It's like, it's outrageous the prices this thing goes for on the aftermarket. But yeah, so keep checking your local Smiths. They might get one in stock. But I stalked out the Smiths website for a full day, and then the following morning I checked it at 7:30 in the morning, and they had it in stock, and I went buy, and managed to nip over to Smiths later on that day and pick it up on a click and collect. So yeah, I've got hold of him. Very clean, hasn't got all that dirty sort of paint spatter all over it. It's a very clean bot. Yes, they've re-engineered it. He's got like this really wide chest that some people aren't very happy about, but in hand it's not that bad, to be honest. Transforms into the boombox perfectly, you know. Has got some sort of holdovers from the other mould. I mean, he's still got these stupid skid things on the back of his arm that he had from the from this mode. But he won't transform into the ship. It hasn't. They've engineered the ship out of him, so I'm kind of glad of that. I mean, it would have been interesting if he could triple change into the spaceship mode as well. That would have been something. Now, this mould being a Netflix exclusive is very hard to find, get hold of at the moment. But I reckon this is going to get reissued as part of the Kingdom line in one of the late waves. They're probably going to reissue this thing as like a Kingdom Voyager. So if you haven't got one yet, there might be another chance down the road. But fantastic, great figure, and he's the best bot that I got this month in December. So that's, my main bots that I got throughout the course of the year, from January through to December. So as with the worst bot video, I've decided I'm going to throw in a couple of honourable mentions at the end, starting with Siege Spinister. Yeah, got this guy in January. This guy featured quite heavily on a lot of people's top bots of the year videos last year, because he came out in the tail end of 2019. A lot of people got him, gushed about him, and quite rightly so. It's a brilliant mould. I wanted to get this guy because, being Spinister, he is part of the IDW Scavengers lineup, and I really needed a decent Spinister mould to go in my Scavengers lineup. So we've got a Generations Spinister. The only thing is, in my opinion, he's a little small. He should have been a Voyager figure rather than a Deluxe, but this guy is big for a Deluxe. I mean, let's put him next to... I mean, you can see, he's quite big for a Deluxe. But I could have done with him being a bit bigger, just for my Scavengers lineup, because in the IDW Scavengers, Spinister's massive. He's a lot bigger than the other guys, but quite impressed with him. He's got an interesting transformation. He's got like the two legs have got cockpits on. One of them folds away, and the other one is the actual cockpit. So it's got like a bit of that sort of a transformational trickery going on. He comes with the two guns, which were supposed to be his mini target masters. You can get a Singe and Hair Splitter, I think, as part of the Battle Master line. I'm not sure, but they're exclusives that come in multi-packs, and they're really difficult to get hold of. But no, he's a great figure. He's got lovely colours, and it just so looks like Spinister, and I wanted to get him because Scavengers, and I've actually got one, so I got him, and he's the first of this year's honourable mentions, and got him in January. Right, so now in previous years, as I collect these Korean toys, I like to have at least one, KTRT or Korean transforming robot toy as part of my top bots of the year, for any given year. They didn't quite make the grade this year, mainly because I didn't buy as many Korean toys this year as I usually do because of, well, Brexit. I mean, back in February, you know, Brexit happened in February, and I was worried about it upsetting the the European Customs Union of parcels coming into the UK, and so I stopped buying them for a while after that, and then literally a month later, then COVID happened, and it screwed everything over. So I haven't got as many, Korean toys, but a couple of them have made it onto my honourable mentions list. The first being, again, another thing I got in January. Miniforce Super Dino Force Tyranno Thunder. So I got this guy. He's pretty cool. He's got lots of clicky joints, very bright, very colourful, very well made. Transforms into this weird looking sort of dinosaur, sort of sporty car type thing. He's got like a shooter built into his arm. You get this disc thing that you can shoot out of there. So he's got a disc launcher built into his arm. He's a great figure. Like I said, one of the earliest sort of Korean toys I got this year. He's really cool. Pretty awesome. And I thought, well, you know, if none of my Korean toys have made it onto my top bots of the year list, but there's a few honourable mentions in there, and this is one of them. So Miniforce Tyranno Thunder. Then Studio Series Jet Shatter. Obviously, well, was it last year or the year before? Studio Series, I got hold of the car Studio Series. I bought it at TF Nation, I think, last year. The Jet Shatter car mode, absolute garbage, terrible mould, awful. It's got like totally the wrong head sculpt. The transformation is awful. Things keep popping off. So then they did a rework of it into, because she's a triple changer in the Bumblebee movie. They did the jet version. This is so much better than the car version. It's got a proper head sculpt, decent transformation, great jet mode. The only gripe is this backpack. It's a bit fussy. It's difficult to know exactly where to place the parts of the backpack that looks, you know, sort of right. I mean, she's got this big backpack, but that's the only gripe. The robot mode is awesome. Transformation's great. The alt mode looks amazing. It kind of looks like a Harrier jump jet without the jet thrusters on the side. But love this thing. It's great, and such an improvement over the car Shatter from the previous release. So yeah, Studio Series Jet Shatter. Now this one was a surprise. I never thought that I would have in my hand a RacknRuin toy. Yes, Cyberverse Ultra's RacknRuin. Couldn't believe they actually... I mean, yeah, okay, they RacknRuin starred in the Cyberverse series, and he's got this design that's different to his G1 original. He's still a Siamese bot, but he's basically got two torsos, you know, sort of joined together, two heads, but like a left arm, a right arm, a left leg, and a right leg. The original RacknRuin was basically two bots, and they were conjoined at the shoulder. So they had two pairs of legs, one arm each, and a head. So they've rationalised his design slightly, but you know, he was quite an interesting character in the show. You know, he was like the storesman. You know, he looked after all the stores on the Ark. You know, all the boxes and things, and there's some quite amusing scenes with him. But his toy is really, really good. Even though it's not the G1 RacknRuin that I want, it's still a RacknRuin toy, and I never thought I would ever get a G1 RacknRuin. Well, I never thought I'd get a RacknRuin toy. So yeah, managed to get hold of him. Amazing, absolutely love it. I know it's a Cyberverse Ultra figure, and they're a bit gimmicky, but this guy's all right. He actually works really well, and definitely just for the fact that he's RacknRuin makes him worthy of a, honourable mention. And then finally, Hello Carbot's Mini Gold Rex. Yeah, in August I bought a bunch of Hello Carbot minis, 7 in total, and this was the best of the bunch. I've got the big Gold Rex, and he's a really impressive figure, and this thing is a really good sort of scaled down version of that mould. I mean, it hasn't quite got all the articulation joints that one has, but it still transforms into the dragon mode quite successfully, and it's a brilliant little thing. Looks amazing. It's got the head. It's actually got an opening jaw. Very small, but there you go. He can open his jaw, and he's got the Pokemon move Dragon Claws. I mean, he kind of looks like a robotic Charizard from Pokemon, doesn't he? He's got the 2 prongs on his head. He's got the wings. And he's got the Pokemon move, Dragon Claw going on. It's I really, really like this guy. He's awesome. He's amazing, and he was the best. He was the best figure I got out of that bunch of mini Carbot figures I got in August, and worthy of a honourable mention. So that's it. Okay, this video's run on a little bit longer than I would have thought, probably about 10 minutes more than I expected, but I still got it done under an hour. Problem is, you know what I'm like when I get chatting. So yeah, you've seen the best bots I got this year. What do you think? Some interesting stuff there. I mean, admittedly, there's probably some bots on this list which maybe didn't deserve to be there. They're really not, what you'd call good stuff, and don't deserve to be on this list. But it's my opinion at the end of the day. It's what I want. It's how I felt about these things at the time that made them the bots that they are on this list. So with that said, I've been TFR Wilderness, and obviously in a couple of days' time I'll be doing my end of month bot haul, and that will be my final video for 2020. So look forward to that, why don't you? And I will catch you all then. Ta-da.